welcome, Juana. We're here to talk about your experience in the Mom Master Plan program, which I think you did it. Was it 2020? Was it right when the pandemic started? Because you were with Nicole
Yep.
and Anna. That
Yep.
was an epic group,
Yes.
epic cohort.
Yep.
Um, so
Yep.
can you take us all the way back
Yeah.
to 2020 and like what drew you in to the program?
I had been I I'm a believer in, like people come into your life to just like you either show you opportunities and you
Mm,
receive them or you don't.
mm,
And when I think back to that time, I'm so thankful that I received everything that was coming to me.
mm.
Um, because it was through, I don't know if I can I say her name? I could, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So Maria Elena, who had done the program already,
hmm
we were colleagues and, we had grown very close through work. I met her through work and we had become, very more than like colleagues. We had talked and connected.
Mm,
And anyway, so she had kind of known what I was going through at that time. And
mm.
she was like, I think you would really benefit from this program that I just did. And I think it really, helped me. And it sounds like it would for you.
Mm.
And it's funny because Maria Elena also introduced me to my therapist, who I still see.
We
And
love you, Maria Elena.
she's just that person in my life, which I actually have told her that
Mm.
it is because of her that she's part of this
Oh.
important journey the last 4 or 5 years.
Mm.
So anyway, so yeah, she had recommended, and I can't remember how I got connected to you, but I did, and I don't know
Yeah.
what medium, had to be email. Um, yeah, and I think I remember like I remember filling out the application, and I was like, how the hell do I answer this? What do I
Mm.
say? What do I want to say?
Mm.
What am I really feeling? I actually ended up printing what you sent us. Was it week 7 or 8? Our
Yeah.
section
Oh,
sheet.
yeah. Yeah.
So, as I was preparing for today, I printed it
Wow.
and went through it, and I got really emotional
Whoa.
reading it more than I thought. But
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
so that's, I think following what I didn't know. I have a lot of words now to that time that I didn't
Mm.
have then,
Mm.
right? Like, oh, that's what that meant. Oh, that's what that feeling was. Oh,
Mm.
okay, now it all makes sense what I was going through at the time,
Mm.
meaning like, you know, something just felt like I had to do something, right? Like
Mm.
it had to shift.
Yeah.
Maria Elena tells me about the program.
Mm.
And what I was reflecting on today in thinking about us connecting was I had never, like, I was never, I don't want to say into, but like, I had never thought to financially invest in myself outside of therapy.
Mm.
So, like, uh, into my like well-being and like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to use life coach, but like programs for people who were, supporting folks figure out their paths, right? In whatever way
Yeah.
it was. I had never, one, I didn't think that was a thing, right? I knew
Mm-hmm.
it existed. I mean, I'll be transparent. Like for me, that was like for like white people. I didn't understand that, like my mom did, right? Like there, it's just
Totally.
different.
It's not in our sphere. Yeah.
It's not in
Yeah.
our sphere. I mean, my
Yeah.
mom was the first in my family to go to therapy, right? So like,
Mm.
um, in our like really in our entire family of
Wow.
all cousins and all that. So, and even as like aware as I was at the moment, the thought of like spending money to like not in to be a part of different communities that support
Mm.
where I'm at, whatever that looked like, it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't a thing, right?
Yeah.
Even when Marilena told me, part of me was like, do I want to pay for this? Like, what does this mean? Right? And
Yeah.
I think our call was well, I know our intake call was really
Mm,
like, I mean, just I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna figure it out.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I mean, as you know, we still have a connection and a
Yep.
friendship, and it's so beautiful and a sisterhood. And
Yeah.
I felt that on that very first call.
Yeah.
I mean, and I will tell you that when I don't know if you remember this, but when I was talking and you were like, you sound like that Erica Badu
Yep.
song, Ragged Lady. And I was like, oh my God, I've been listening to that song had been calling me for like a
Yep.
month and a half. I was listening to it.
Yep.
I would walk to work, which feels so crazy because I haven't done that in like 4 years. That song was so like resonating so deeply with me. And then when you said that, I was like, how the fuck did she know? Like that was just, it just felt so in alignment and like, okay,
Yeah.
I need to keep going with this feeling and where's it
Yeah.
going and where's this going to take me? So it was
Yeah.
really scary to sign up. I'll be honest. I was
Mm,
like, this was new territory for me
yeah.
all the ways.
Mm. No, I remember that call.
Yeah.
And I remember that moment. Because I was just like, yeah, like you're carrying so
Yeah.
much shit that ain't yours.
Yeah.
Like it really
I
was like it just came to me, bag lady told you, and then you were like, oh my God.
think we were on the phone for like an hour. It was supposed to
Yes.
only be like 30 minutes. And I think
Yeah.
we ended up staying for an hour.
Yeah, yeah. But the beautiful thing is, I feel like even though you were navigating like so many things, you still showed me yourself. And that's the beautiful thing of like these phone calls, these intake calls is like when you think you're just kind of talking around in circles, I'm following the whole time and you're
Right.
showing me you. Like I feel like we talked about, family stuff, we talked about ancestors, we talked about so many things. And I was like, Juana, like there's so much more here, for us to
And I don't
unpack.
even, and I don't even think like at that time I really understood. Like I think being in the program, aside from working with my therapist, who's also deeply rooted in like ancestral
Mm,
wisdom and rituals and stuff. I didn't even know until we got
mm,
into the program how connected that was,
yeah,
right? Like I knew it, but I being in the program, I think really um, you know, showed that more
yeah,
as we went on.
yeah, yeah. Can you name even just a few of the challenges that maybe you were facing at that time that, because you said, you wanted a shift, but do you have a sense of like what, like, can you name maybe what that shift was or what you thought maybe it was at that time? I think I remember
Yeah.
what you had said at that time, but I just want to see for you.
So at that time, I was working with a new therapist for like a month and a half, and I had started to recognize I was having really bad anxiety for years.
Mm,
I will say that becoming a mother really brought that out.
mm-hmm.
And I did not have the support that I needed emotionally and just in all the ways.
Mm.
I mean, my friends were great support, so I'm not trying to, when they see this, it's not about them. It's like a deeper, right? Like
Yeah,
there's only so much I can put on my friends.
right.
So at the time when we spoke, I had just started to really, one, have words for
Mm,
my triggers, where the anxiety was coming from, and what started to, even though I knew they came from when they started when I became a mother,
mm.
um, they were like starting to peel, right? It was starting to
Yeah.
open up. And one of the things that came out was I wasn't secure in my power. Part of that was not even knowing that I had power. I
Mm.
know I have power in this like, I don't know, like a macro way
Yeah.
maybe,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
like in really inside of me, there was
Yeah.
this like out of control. I don't know how, not that I know how to control, but that's not the right term. Really, I knew I had power, but I didn't know. what that was,
Hmm.
what had come from, that was that, right? I was
Yeah.
holding so much,
Hmm.
um, and really feeling all over the place
Yeah.
and actually feeling out of control and
Mm.
knowing that I needed something, but I didn't know what that thing was.
Mm. I feel like that's so important because we don't always know, but it's like this intuitive feeling of like something
Mm,
needs to change, right? Like
mm,
I know something's off. I have a kind of a sense, but like I don't actually fully know. If I knew,
mm,
maybe I wouldn't be in this place right now, So like even just that very real, like I just have a sense like it's not working. I need help. I don't exactly know what kind of help. Therapy is a part of it, but there's something more.
mhm,
There's
mhm,
something more. And
mhm,
so even just your courage, right, to listen, like you said, to pay attention, to listen to the things that were coming to you, to take these kinds of steps, because you could have, I don't think you could have known what was going to come through this program. Like you
mhm,
can read the website, you can do all the things,
mhm,
but
mhm,
like
mhm,
you don't even know. It takes a certain level of just like trust and trusting that knowing and just jumping. You just like kind of take the leap, right?
mhm, mhm.
And you did that, and we've been on such a, I feel like just amazing journey together ever since. It's
Yes,
been
yes,
amazing.
yeah.
Um, so, the program is pretty holistic, and I think kind of like I'm saying right now is like there's really nothing like it. I mean, I'll own it. There really ain't nothing like this, but it's hard to sort of describe fully what the program is, but it is very holistic, right? It's much more full. And so I'm wondering how like that holistic approach in the program kind of helped you in your journey.
I'll be really transparent. I think um, one of the things that I loved was that uh, I think having other women of color and Black women in the program
Mm,
um, was so important
mm,
for me,
mm-hmm,
especially being led by a Black woman.
mm-hmm,
Um, I immediately felt seen right away in the
mm,
cohort. Um, I mean, right, like I'm not a Black woman, but for me, um, I feel safest
yeah.
in those spaces.
Mm,
And so that was one thing.
mm,
Aside from that, we were all mothers. I think everyone showed
mm-hmm,
up. I never felt anyone showing up in any type of way. So I think
mm-hmm,
that also contributed to feeling safe and being with this group. And I think
mm,
we all showed up the same, you know, uh,
yeah.
in our first call, right? Even
Mm-hmm.
when we broke off into our groups, which I mean, the, the little cohort we had is its own story and situation
Yeah.
in a beautiful way. I don't mean that
Mm,
in its own bonding and just
mm,
what we went through in just us four of us.
yeah.
Um, anyway, so, and I think, I feel for me like that was what was the beginning of like how it all started to come together for me.
Mm,
Um, I will say that I, this program was the first time that I think I had been involved in anything where it took me a few weeks to even like, oh, this is about me. This is
yeah.
not about my job. This is not about my husband. This is not about it's not even about my daughter, right?
Yes.
This is actually about me. And the
Yes.
funny part of it was, and I think it didn't, I think it happened to a few of us where we kept going back to the something else grounding and centering us
Yep.
versus us being grounded and centered in
In
ourselves,
yourselves.
right?
Yeah.
Which we had to
Yeah.
learn that because I think none of us had ever thought that.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Um, so yeah, I'm gonna pause there because I feel like
Hmm.
um that to me was like what was really, I think it just created the tone and the space to
Yeah.
just be able to like, and even in our weekly calls, I mean, it was, I had never experienced that where we could just all show up and like, you know what, I didn't get to do this. I only did
Yeah.
half because
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. And like, it
Yeah.
was okay, right?
Yeah.
No one was
Yeah.
in trouble. No one, it was like, all right, cool. So this is how we'll move with that.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I love that.
I probably have more thoughts, but I'm gonna pause there.
Yeah, no, I love all the nuances that you're bringing out, and particularly like, to be in a place and space where you feel safe
Mm,
as a black or brown woman, like a Latina woman, like a
mm,
mother, just being in that more progressive
mm,
and just like with other like-minded people, but also being in a space where we are different because there's white women that do the program, there's everyone who
mhm.
does the program,
Yep, yep.
but the tone that we set, like you said, and the way it's structured and the kinds of people that show up, it's like no one's here to prove themselves or what they believe, or we're just
Mm,
connecting
mhm,
on this desire to connect back with ourselves. And then in that, we get to also witness the journey of others connecting back with themselves. And that mirrors back to us our own journey. And to
mhm,
see other people who look like us or have similar experiences as us, it does take down the guards, that
mhm.
that we naturally have. And like you said earlier, I never done this. I thought this was kind of stuff was for white people. Like it's like,
Yeah, yeah.
so it's like to be able to go as deep as we go, you have to feel safe,
Mm,
and that is such a big thing that is important for me in the program. Um, because it's vulnerable and we get into it from day one.
from day
We
one.
we get right into it. So I love that you brought that piece of it up because I do feel like that is a special component
Mhm.
that makes all the difference. And let's be real, like there aren't a lot of programs that are led by Black and brown women
Nope.
like this,
Nope.
that do approach it in a holistic way or that, you know, do go into this level of depth that we go to. Um, so yeah, I love that you brought all that up. That's such a important component that it's like it's there, but I don't necessarily often explicitly name it because
Mhm,
it's just
mhm,
part of my intention,
mhm, mhm,
Um,
mhm,
these are things that has to be, like I feel not good when we or if we have groups that are not balanced with the
mhm.
kind of people
Yep.
I start to feel anxious and I feel like I'm out of integrity
Yeah.
when that happens. So I feel you on that, and I love that you brought that up. Um, do you feel like there was a particular like, lesson or activity that was a turning point for you?
Yeah. So, and it's actually one that for whatever reason, I still go to this day.
Mm,
And it very early, week two which was the values.
yeah.
Um, I would say that, and I think it's so big for me because, and I don't even know if you remember this or if I had talked about it with, no, we had to because we were all together. I did not know what values were.
Mm,
I I will ne I remember you talking about it and that there's that meme of the woman with the math problems in the back of her and she's got like that face.
yeah.
Like, that's what it was like.
Mm,
like I remember when we got off and trying to do the work, I was just like, I don't know what any of this means.
Yeah.
What is like, what's happening right now, you know?
Yeah.
And it took, I even want to say that even when we started week 3, I was still working on week 2 and
Yeah.
values. And I actually, that's wrong. I think I worked through that the whole program, still kept going back because
Yeah.
the idea that I can hold values for myself and that they can
Mm.
look however I wanted to was so
Mm.
foreign
Mm.
to me, which boggles my mind because I mean, and you kind of know me, I mean, you know me, right? But
Yeah.
like, I'm such a, strong women and like,
Yep.
you ain't gonna tell me to
Yep.
do shit and nobody gonna tell
Yeah.
me to do shit and like, fuck the system and da-da-da. And here I was like not even knowing my right to values and what does value
Yes.
mean and
Mm.
oh shit, I can live, wait, I can live to this
Yeah.
and I think when I think about it now, it's like that just goes to show like how I mean, this is like a whole nother discussion for another time, but just how like society and
Hmm.
um or even just like the generational trauma stuff that's
Yep.
just down from our mothers and grandmothers
Hmm.
and what's expected of us and even however progressive we can be, we still hold onto that
Yep.
shit like,
Yep.
internally without even realizing it,
Yep.
you know
Mm.
so yeah, values was definitely, and it was very early on
Mm.
in the program, right? That's week 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or even just daydreaming of what my day would look like.
Yeah.
There was a part of me that was like, oh, I can do that.
Yeah.
I can dream of this. All right, what does
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I mean, and that, that's taken some time, even after the program was, I mean, right?
Yeah.
I'm still figuring it out and
Yeah.
but I would say that was one of the biggest ones for
Hmm.
me.
I love that. I think too, sometimes we get into these places of, you're very much in the activist,
Hmm.
social justice
Yeah.
arena, and you can get very preoccupied with the fighting against and the creating the change that there's not often a lot of space or place to vision what's new, like to make a choice of like, if I wasn't trying to fix what is and I actually went and created what works for me, that's a blank slate. What would I even do? What would I even create? And so to step back in your own life and be able to ask yourself,
Hmm.
well, outside of my relationship to this system that doesn't clearly work for me, if I am orienting to me, what do I value? What is my ideal day? Like, what?
I could do that. Like,
What?
yeah, yeah. That-
Like it's just it might seem so simple, but it's like the thing that's right in front of us that we're
Yep.
just not seeing. We didn't even know that that was something that we could do. Um, and so yeah, I love that you bring that up because I think a lot of people just don't know that they even can choose their own values, that they can choose their ideal day, that no, actually, I don't have to try to find a way to fit myself into this system or how this works or whatever. I actually get to choose my own life and how I want to orient to my own self. Like,
Yeah.
damn. Like, it's empowering, but it's also kind of scary because it's like, wait, what? You know?
I think especially for mothers, right? I think
Hmm.
we are so, unfortunately, no matter how much, I guess, like mothers and women have created so much change, there's
Mm.
still that just that shit that's just ingrained in us of like
Yep.
being the martyr and taking it
Yep.
all on and doing everything. And I mean, I see it in myself, right? Like as
Hmm.
much, I
Hmm.
mean, I'm 4 years into this program and we've done so much work and
Mm,
I'm still picking up everything. And
mm,
it's just like, and I see it with my friends. I see it with, it's not just me. It's
yeah,
so many of us.
yeah.
Um,
Mm,
you know, and it even, it took, like I said, it took a while to even accept, acknowledge that I do, I mean, also understanding I am coming from like a privileged place, but there is some choice that I have in
mhm.
how I want to move forward.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Mm,
but I feel like, especially, parents and mothers or the, main caretakers,
mm,
um, you know, we just take it all on. And
yeah.
sometimes there's just no space to
Mm,
even think that we can have something for us. And
mhm.
what does that look like?
Right, right. I mean, it just shows how deep the conditioning
Mm,
really is and why it's important to commit to the work of this,
mhm,
right? Like
mhm.
I feel like you're saying it without saying it, but it's like, yeah, the program's 3 months, but the work continues. It's like,
Yeah.
that's the beginning. It's a catalyst. It uncovers, it gives you insight into who you are, it builds momentum. Like it does bring a lot of clarity, but then you got to practice. Then you have to keep shedding and unlearning and letting go while letting what's new come up. That is a process that takes
Mhm,
time, um and that's very real. And I think that that's what I hope people can understand, is that this program is not just like a one and done,
mhm.
but it's like you were talking about how, like, oh, I didn't even know I can invest myself. That investment that you made has lasted
Mhm,
20
mhm.
years and on, like that was a worthwhile
Yep.
investment. Like that development and that insight is still serving you
I mean,
today.
to me, the program was like a foundational, like it set like a foundation for where to begin,
Mm,
because even finishing the program, I still go back. I have two binders that are separated. One binder is the stuff that really resonated that I know I have
mm,
to go back to, and
mm.
another binder is all the stuff because I had printed everything back
Yeah,
then.
I love that.
And the other binders, all the other stuff that like I feel pretty grounded in, I don't
Mm,
necessarily need to really go back to. Like I'm
yeah.
good. Um,
Mm,
or that the work that I need to continue, right, is like one binder. Uh,
mm,
and it always, I always go back to it and I always have,
mm.
and it still resonates. I mean, all the work still connects and makes
Yes.
sense. And
Yes.
I'm grateful to constantly be remembering, like, oh, okay, that's
Yeah.
okay, let me start again.
Yeah.
And,
Mm.
and obviously, like, with our coaching calls and stuff, that also they connect also.
Yeah.
But the program itself is something, I mean, I still go back to,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, which is something I'm really proud of personally, is just like creating something that grows with you, right?
Mhm.
It's not based on just where you were or a particular time in your life or whatever. It's like, no, actually, as you grow, the content gets deeper. You understand things on a much deeper level and it expands you
Yeah.
even more, even more.
Things change,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
My ideal day that I wrote in 2020, in February, end of February 2020, that does not compute right now.
Yeah.
But I have the questions and the things I need to continue to think about when I look at what I need to center and ground myself
Mm.
in, um, wherever I'm at in that moment, whatever season I'm in.
Mm.
Uh,
Yeah.
you
I
know,
love it.
and every season is a different ideal day, honestly. It really
For
is.
real.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point, right? To align to the seasons and figure out like our rhythms and know how we operate when things change, versus this idea that the patriarchy makes us believe that it's just consistent all the time. It's just a linear path. You should just always be the same all the time. And it's like, we don't work like that.
Yeah.
Our ancestors did not work like that. We don't work like that. So aligning to the rhythms and cycles of Grandmother Earth allows us to lean into our own
Mm.
rhythms, allows us to honor where we are in the different seasons. That's beautiful. What were some of the root issues that you feel like you became more aware of in the program?
Oh man. What comes up, I honest, so full transparency, um I have forgotten, not that time, but there are pieces
Mm.
that going back to my papers, which thankfully I still have. Um, I would say one of the things in reviewing, going back to the work that I did, I feel like one of the root issues was like, I'm gonna say finding my voice, but
Mm.
um, I guess like unlearning that I needed to be quiet,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm.
Well, not that I'm a
Dang.
quiet person, because I'm not.
Yeah, all these thoughts are coming in my head from all the coaching calls we've had
Yeah,
since then. You saying
yeah,
that, I'm like making all these connections in my head.
yeah. Um,
Mm.
think that, um, I mean, I don't want to say accepting, but I don't know, I guess realizing, or it's not the words I want to use, but I'm thinking of like my power.
Mm-hmm.
I really didn't think I had power over my own life, over my own self, what that looked like.
Mm. Mm.
I think saying no to my daughter was really hard. And not in a way of like, no, you can't have candy, but just giving myself.
Mm.
Meaning I can go out and do this thing. If I wanted to go out 3 times a week, that is okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm also fulfilling all these other things for her as her mother,
Mm. Mm.
right? I don't know if
Mm.
I'm explaining that right, but
Yeah, the phrase that's coming to mind is there's space for you. Like
yes.
knowing that there's space for you and you can take that space
Yes.
for
Yes.
you. Um, and
I
like
think those
you
were.
don't have to overgive and overserve.
What's funny too, like when I was reading my intake form and my application, I had wrote kind of going back to like, I'm thinking it's like work. And at that time I was like, oh, I felt like I was in this rut, and like
Mm-hmm.
I thought the program would like help me to find my purpose of to fulfill like my work, right?
Mm,
Where am I going? And I think ultimately, right, it's not about that.
right.
My purpose in my, or whatever, however I want to see that, I can't know how I want to show up as a mother to my
Mm.
daughter or to my husband or to my family if I don't know what my fucking values are. Don't know, right? Like, because then people are walking all over, overstepping boundaries because
Yep.
they don't know, right? And
Yep.
I'm feeling depleted and all these
Mm-hmm.
ways, and
Mm.
even boundaries with my daughter and my husband, right?
Mm.
Like,
Mm.
and thinking that it was okay for that because I'm the mom and I have to
Mm.
give everything. And, I also come from like a single parent, upbringing. So, and my mom was a young mom, so we kind of grew up together. So that
Mm.
dynamic, that
Mm.
feeds into how I show up as a mom,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And thinking about,
Mm.
I was also taught that because that's how my mom thought she had to be. And she was a
Mm-hmm.
single mom fulfilling all these roles, and she
Mm-hmm.
did it. So now here I am doing it, and I'm like, wait, but I actually have a partner. I was very lucky in a privileged space to do that.
Mm.
So just noting that I understand that might not be everybody's situation, but I think
Sure.
the idea of how our upbringing teaches us things, how
Mm-hmm.
society teaches us things, and how we take it on and
Mm.
still do the thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah, so back to the question, I think, knowing how to create space for myself,
Mm-hmm.
recognizing my power.
Mm.
It didn't have to be this ego thing, just that I
Yeah.
knew who I was and what
Mm-hmm.
that meant.
Yes. And the thing that's coming up for me too is like part of coming into your power is also recognizing how you're perpetuating
Yeah,
some of the cycles or like
sure.
what it
Yep.
is that you like those unconscious things that
Mhm.
you're talking about that we're
Yep.
doing, we don't even know we're doing. And then sometimes our focus then turns to the other people of like, well, they're doing this and that. But then when you start to recognize the choices that, oh, I have a choice. Oh, I'm making choices. Oh, shit. Like I'm making these choices that are helping to perpetuate these things that then deplete me or then
Yep.
take
Yep.
me away from myself or like I'm not aligning to my values. So the tool of values helps you make those decisions differently, right? Because otherwise you are operating by values, but they're not values that you chose, they're
Right.
values that you inherited. So when you can unearth those and look at them and be like, wait a minute, this doesn't align, but all my actions are aligning to these values that don't actually
Yeah.
align. So if I want different actions, if I want different results, I got to have different values that I'm operating off of. So that also is part of that coming into your power and really understanding, yeah, like you said, who you are.
And it's
Um,
an ongoing process. I mean, I think, like
hmm,
I said earlier, the program was just this like foundational grounding and like
hmm,
a self-setting kind of thing.
hmm.
I mean, I know I'm saying all these things on this call, but it's constant work. It's
Yeah.
not like, oh, I know my values and I'm here and like, no.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, but
work.
that's more real. And
Yeah.
that's what we like, that's how we roll here,
And you
you
know what? I
know?
think what's important to know is like now I know when I'm all over the place and I'm starting to get crazy, I now know like I take a step back and I'm like, oh shit, wait a minute. I need to like center and reground. Hold on.
Yes.
And I take I go back, okay, wait, what are the things that ground me right now so I can just get
Yes.
through? Okay, let's do that. All right, what's the next step? And I
Yeah.
think before the program, it would have just been like a hamster wheel.
Mm.
Um, or just
Mm.
this like therapy is a beautiful resource
Mm.
to have. And there's like that deeper work that needs to be
Mm.
done in connection with therapy.
Yes. Yes.
We can
Yes.
talk about it and I can have an understanding, but if I'm not doing the work with it,
Yes.
then there is how am I really going to change for myself to feel lighter?
Yes.
Uh,
Yes. Yeah.
so yeah, I think for me yeah.
I love that. I love that. And even what you're talking about is like, oh, feeling grounded. Grounded is all about your values, right? Like that's what the values do. They root you, they
Mhm.
ground you, they bring you down. So it makes sense that you connected with that, considering that you said you had a lot of anxiety, you struggle with anxiety. Like anxiety gets you all up here and like
Mhm.
out of whack, that when you can recenter in your values, that immediately puts your roots in the ground. And that does take work because our society is constantly throwing all these things at you. There's the condition. It makes sense. There's so much that we're figuring out. There's so much we're unlearning, but to have that tool to know, oh, I'm kind of getting a little bit lost here, a little bit
Mhm.
overtaken. How do I reset? How do I reground? And that's the practical piece of all of this. And that's what I always hope for and desire, is that these tools and everything that we learn is something that we're daily practicing, because it really is a lifestyle. It's not about just, do the program and, oh, that was nice. Like it's like,
Right.
no, I want it when the real shit happens, that
Mhm.
you have something to go to and that you can shift that and you can come back into your power and you know how to reorient yourself. Because I am not promising that the program keeps you from life. No, like life's going to come at you probably even harder
Mhm.
after the program. But the point is to have a
Yes.
plan and the tools to
Mhm.
help you navigate those things that will come so that you can maintain your sense of self, you can maintain your sense of power, um, and clarity and joy, and do the things that, are good for you. So I love how real you are, how transparent you are, because I'm like, that's what most mothers are feeling.
Mhm.
And we don't got to put up a front. Like that's how it is. It's just the reality. Um, but it resonates, and I think everything that you're showing and describing here is that you can have tools to help you navigate
Mhm.
the realities and the chaos and the unknowns of life. You don't have to get swept up and lost in
And
all
I,
of that.
and I think too, what's coming up for me is like, yes, we need like support, right?
Mm,
Just as, in all the ways. I think
yeah,
emotional, physical, like,
yeah.
we need help, somebody watching these kids so we can get a break and right,
Yeah,
and just
yeah.
however that looks for people. And I think that, there is a piece of that it's okay to do that,
Mm,
right?
mhm.
And we can choose ourselves. It might not be the ultimate choice that we want, like a weekend away, but we could
Mhm.
work towards that,
Yeah.
right?
Mm,
And you know that we can create a pathway to, you know, liberation for ourselves and
yeah.
whatever that looks like, right?
Yes.
Whatever the
Yes.
whatever the not I don't want to call it end goal, but whatever the path to,
It's like your vision, the path to
yeah,
your vision.
right? Like,
Yeah.
if there's a mom who, is struggling with taking time for herself, like
Mm,
understanding that you want to get to be able to go away for the weekend by yourself. I
mm.
think there's a feeling, or maybe I'm just projecting, but like I know I always feel like I gotta get there tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah.
Like we
Versus
gotta
it's
we
a
gotta go now.
process. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I can do that. Okay, let's do it for tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's not realistic, right? And
Right.
understanding that it's okay to plant and create the little changes to get us there
Yes.
eventually. I think that's a really important piece of that's one of the things I've learned in these last 4 years, and we've talked about it.
Yeah.
The need to like feel so rushed to get to this thing, which is
Yes.
a deeper conversation, not
Yeah,
for
yeah.
now.
Yeah.
But I think that also what helps is like understanding you can do the little pieces to get there.
Yes.
And that's
Yes.
just as important as getting there.
Yes.
You
Well, I
arrive.
think I think that's a huge myth, honestly, that most people have is that, oh, to realize a goal, you got to take huge leaps. You got to
Mhm.
be willing to jump off the cliff. I'm like, yo, maybe I don't want to jump off the cliff, right? Like, is that really where it's at? Yeah, 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 go for it.
Can we pause 1 second?
Yes, yes. It is all good. Um, so there's a couple of things I want to hear about because you kind of shared a little bit about kind of how you've applied things, from the program to your life. But is there like a specific incident or, area of your life where you really feel like I took what I learned from the program and I really applied this and this kind of shifted in this way, or some area of your life shifted or perspective? Like, do you have an example that kind of comes to mind?
Yes. Um, Give me a second because an example is coming up, but it's not appropriate for this phone call, for this video call. Um, I yes, it sounds so simple, but
Mm.
um, Sunday mornings from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. do not bother me. I go to the
Yes.
coffee shop. Sometimes the coffee shop looks like writing in my journal or planning. Sometimes it looks like going to Barnes and Noble, reading a magazine for an
Yeah.
hour and a half, walking around. Barnes and Noble, right? I love Barnes and Noble. I
Me
don't know.
too.
I love it. That's like my shit.
Yeah, me too.
And uh I would say that is the biggest thing. And I don't feel bad about it.
Mm.
I do it and my family respects it. And that's just what it is. And I
Mm.
think that to me is one of the biggest shifts in that I mean, and not that my family was never like they never like overstepped a boundary when I like needed a break, but I would definitely say that like sometimes I would need to be told like you need to get out.
Yeah.
Now I know
Yeah.
I need to know when I need to leave, but I also
Yeah.
need to carve out intentional time
Time. Yes.
to do stuff
Yes.
for me, whatever that looks like,
Yes.
and not care and not,
Mm.
you know, it seems that Sunday has been the day for me to do that. I had to play around a little bit. There were times that's like the goal that doesn't
Yeah.
always happen.
Sure.
But what I do, part of that shift is that I'm grabbing it in pieces throughout the week then. There's a
Yeah.
feeling and understanding in me.
Mm.
It's that can't happen. How do I make little pieces happen?
Yes.
Sometimes it's an
Yes.
hour, sometimes it's two a week. So I think
Mm.
there's like that balance of like,
Sure.
I need to go with the waves of my home as well,
Mm.
which is
I
very
love
real.
that. Yeah.
Um, but also, so that big shift, I think out of saying all that, I think the big shift.
Mm. It's okay.
OMG. So I, pause one more time. Interrupted.
I love this stuff.
Oh my God. So yeah, so I would say that all of that to say that I think what has shifted is um, really working on choosing myself first, that I need to be
Mhm.
full. I need to be full, right?
Yeah.
In order for me to be able to show up for my family
Hmm.
and my God, it's like, what the,
It's okay.
oh my God, I thought I shut that thing off. Yeah, so it's creating spaces for me to do that.
Yeah.
Ebbing and flowing with however, but I need to always come back to me. And I
Yeah.
it doesn't
Yeah.
always look pretty and fun. That's for real. Sometimes I'm coming
Mm.
back to myself really angry and upset and
Mm.
resentful.
Mm.
And I also give myself the space to feel that and go, okay,
Yeah.
okay, let's do this then.
Yeah. I just love that, Juana. I feel like you have really built this beautiful, unwavering commitment to you, that the
Mhm.
challenges are not going to stop you or get in your way. Like you have been so committed to your path and to your journey, no matter what. Like it has not been easy. It's been a winding road, but I
Mm,
love how I feel like you have built a tremendous amount of grace to
mm,
yourself and just allowing yourself, like you just said, to feel what you feel like. Okay, I'm coming to myself right now. I'm a little angry, resentful. Like it's been a lot, but I'm still here. Like we're gonna work through this. We're gonna figure it out. I just feel like the relationship that you have built with yourself, the trust that you have built with yourself over these last 4 years is really, really beautiful.
mm,
It's been impeccable to witness. And I always love when you're like, Tiff, we need a coaching call. Like, or you give me updates because you're advocating for yourself.
mm,
You are
mhm,
advocating for yourself. And when you talk about like finding my own voice, learning how to not to unlearn feeling like I gotta hide or be less than I am, or being quiet, not using my voice. Like I feel like you have really shifted that a lot and you're so much more aware. And I love that you talk about this, go with the waves of my home. You're able to go with the waves of your home and still honor yourself. It's like,
mhm,
okay, if I can't have the perfect thing that I want, I'm not going to show up for me. It might look a little different, but that's okay. At least I'm still going to show up and I'm prioritizing myself no matter what it looks like. We're having some of this time. And I think that that is beautiful, and I often think of the question that you've asked me just over time, like how do you consistently show up for yourself when there's chaos, when there's
Mhm.
so much change and ups and downs? And
Yep.
I feel like you are like, that's like one of your like life lessons, is like to be the epitome of what that looks like. Even in the chaos, even in the challenges, even in the ups and downs, you can show up for yourself. You can be consistent. Like you can create these rituals that honor you. Like, I think that's so beautiful. I think
Mhm.
it's just lovely. And it's wonderful to hear you talk in these ways. I'm like, damn, Juana, like a lot has changed in 4 years.
Yeah.
Like
And
a lot.
I think it's important for people to know too, because that is, I mean, it happens to me, right? Like I get caught up in these Instagram parent pages and all this, we've talked about this, right? Like I
Yeah,
had to
yeah,
stop following a lot of them because it was too much. But I think one of the things that folks could take away is, you know, it's been 4 years.
yeah,
And the first year, I was not how I am today, right?
yeah,
Most of
yeah.
us are, ebb and we change and all that stuff. But I think with the
Mm,
program and just the work, like I think that's the testament to it. Even the
yeah.
community that's built from it,
Mm,
right? Like
mm,
the Mama Monthly calls. I mean, I'm
mm.
always so. I mean, I leave every call. I go in every call, like, because we never know who's on. It's not my cohort,
Right,
all different
right.
cohorts who join.
Yeah, yeah,
I never know who's gonna show up. I don't know
yeah.
people. And it's like we all know each other, even though we don't.
Yeah.
And we are all feeling the same
They,
thing. Someone can talk about what they're going through, have a total different life than
mm,
me.
mm.
And I'm literally like, oh my God, I'm feeling the same way. I get you. And
Yes.
I have never once been on a call that was not
Mm,
the case.
mm.
Any race, any cult, anything. It's beautiful. It's like so
Yeah.
different. We are all connected in this one way
Yes. Yes.
that you don't, I mean, I'm sure it's out there in different spaces, but
Mm.
at least for me, I haven't been a part of that and I haven't.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so beautiful.
But yeah, so all that to say, like, I think what's important is like understanding. You think, you can't go into it thinking like, oh, I'm going to change. In 3 months, I need to be, that's not
Yeah.
actually how it works. Like, you could have
Mm,
like a foundation and be like, oh, I actually feel okay. But, life be lifing.
mm.
And
That's
that's
real.
really real. And shit. And we did that shit during a pandemic.
During the pandemic, right at the start.
We didn't even know what was
Nope.
I'm like, how did we do that? How did we do this work during the pandemic? When I think about
Yep.
now, how
Mm-hmm.
the fuck did we do that work? We
Yeah.
all
And
know
everybody
lockdown.
stayed. Nobody dipped out.
No, no, and we all had children, right? We were
Yep.
all navigating remote
Yep.
school.
Yep.
I mean, and we still did that shit.
Yep. 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 It's amazing. It's
Yeah.
amazing. It just, for me, it just shows the power of committing to yourself no matter what. Like,
Yeah.
if committing to you is an option, you probably ain't going to do it. But if it's not an option, it's like, no, I am showing up for me, no matter what it looks like, whether it's 5 minutes, whether it's 5 hours.
Yeah.
I matter enough to show up for myself. Go for
So,
it.
I'm sorry, I do need to say one thing.
Yeah.
Something that has to the question about what has stayed. Wait,
Yes.
what has stayed?
Yeah.
Journaling.
Ah, yes. Journaling.
Making a effort to journal. I was not a journaler.
Mm,
I always thought I had a fear of someone reading my stuff or
mm,
which I know comes from like childhood shit. But um and that's so important.
yeah.
I think that's important to know because I've spoken to a few people who don't do that.
Mm.
And I'm just like, I hear you, but you got to do it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like
Yeah, move through it.
you need a record and like, oh my God, when I look back to that journal from that time, I'm so thankful that I stuck with it, even though
Mm,
it was very hard to do.
yeah.
but yeah, I think that's a really important thing for
Yeah.
mothers to really sit with and
Yeah.
be open to it.
Yeah. No, I love that a lot of what you're saying are these practical like rituals. They're commitments and rituals that
Yeah.
you've really
Yes.
habits that you've really incorporated into your life that allow you to navigate the day to day, right? Like
Routines, yes,
that's
routines
the
are a big
point.
one too.
Yeah,
I
the
never had a
routines.
routine. I mean, listen, I was a latchkey kid. Routine is what?
Mm.
Never until I serious until 4 years ago did I even
Mm.
understand that I need you at like we need that as humans, not even taking
Yep.
gender out, but as
Yep.
human children. I mean, look at
Yep.
children. We need
Yep.
structure and routine. Like
Yep.
just because we're adults doesn't mean we don't need it either.
Yes.
It looks
Yes.
different, but anyway, all that to say that that is also another thing. It's
Yeah.
I need my routine shifts, but I got something,
Yep.
you
Yep.
know?
Yep. And I bet, coming into the program, it is a very structured program. It's not rigid, but we do have that week to week rhythm. We all showing up on that
Mhm.
coaching call. So I feel like doing that week after week after week after week, you're literally showing yourself that you can find 2 hours to not only show up for a call, but then also to do the work in addition to
Yeah.
that. Like
Yep.
you're finding 4 or 5 hours a week somehow in this
Even
busy
if it's
life.
3 hours before the call, you still
Right.
got time
You
to do
still did
it.
it. Right. Imperfect action. Like you still did it. It don't matter when you did it, but you did it. It's like that shows you like, oh no, maybe it's not actually about time. Maybe it's just a choice. Maybe it's about prioritizing and making that space. So I feel like that routine helped you know that
Mhm.
okay,
Yeah.
no, this is important. I got to protect this for myself.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, I mean, big question, would you recommend this program to other mamas and why? Why or why not?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I
Mm,
think, you know, I think if you're looking for a community of uh mothers,
mm,
and I want to be mindful of how we, talk about birthing people.
yeah.
Um, and that, I think needing that community is important. Uh,
Hmm.
and it's all over, which I love.
Yeah.
It's not just up to where I live. Um, but again, I think it's, if you need, I think mamas need help.
Mm,
We don't know how to ask for it. It's
mm,
hard for us to ask for it. We feel like we don't not deserve it. A little bit we don't deserve it. And I think we feel because we have to be the holders of someone's life and guiding,
mm,
we basically, right, like whether they come through us or to us, we're still like supporting someone's
mhm,
growth in this
mm,
world, right? And that could be really overwhelming. And it
yeah.
makes sense why we give so much of ourselves without
Mm,
stopping to be like, wait, what about me?
mm, mm,
And I think the program helps to remind us of that. I don't think
mhm,
we have the reminder. So I think it's okay if that's what someone's calling is, because I know many moms who feel that their calling is to be a caregiver and
mm,
doing it. And that's beautiful, right?
mhm.
And don't forget about yourself,
Right, right,
right?
right.
For me, I feel that's what the program does. It helps to
Mm,
remind us that we have value out.
mm,
We are people outside of our little people
mhm,
and our
mhm,
teenagers, right?
mm.
Even when they're older, right? Because mothering never stops.
Yeah.
Um, but I think if there's a mother who is feeling lost,
Mhm.
needing, I don't know, looking for support, and I don't know if it's guidance, but like really like a foundation, right? Like,
Yeah.
where do I start? I think for me, that was it. I didn't know where to start.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know I intuitively something needs to change. I need to do something, but where do I begin? This
Yes.
to me is what the program was. It's like a
Mm.
beginning of like tools and resources of, I mean, shit, planners, journals, reading material. I mean, I have planners, I have journals,
Yes.
those things have really helped, to
Hmm.
be where I am today, where
Yeah.
4 years later, I'm taking time for myself. No matter
Mm.
what that looks like. I'm meeting my
Yeah.
friend for dinner. I am not
Yeah.
caring. And y'all got to figure it out because there's
Yeah.
to live. So, and really, the program really helped me to do that because
Yeah.
I'm not caught up in outside noise. I'm just focused here,
Yes.
and I think doing
Yes.
that every week for 8 weeks, you start to like
Yes.
shift a little bit.
Yes. Yes. And you I feel like it's like, you realize your family can figure it out.
Yo,
They'll
and
be
they
fine. They
do.
do. They will figure it out. If you just like, I'm not
They
compromised,
do.
they figure it out.
They do. They really, everyone lives. My
Yeah.
mother still loves me when I get home.
Yes.
I
Yes.
actually find that when I'm doing that, I will say, well, for me, the stress of raising a daughter
Yeah.
is very overwhelming.
Yeah.
What I have learned from the program is that it's also important for her to see that I'm
Mm.
me.
Yes.
She goes into a partnership with whomever, and if
Yeah.
she wants to create a family, I saw my mom run herself down. I didn't see my mom, right? Like I didn't,
Yeah.
my life was different.
Mm.
Hope is that now she'll know to like
Mm.
hold healthy boundaries and
Yes.
have healthy relationships and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I
I
think,
love it.
yeah.
That's beautiful, Juana. So yes, do the program. Is there any like last words you want to share or anything else you want to say or, for mamas who are thinking about it or just
You know,
between us to the world?
I think I think that I think what I would like to say to like, I don't know, you got this regardless of taking the course or not.
Yeah.
Definitely think following you. I mean, I know this sounds so like, I don't know what, but honestly, like your emails are so helpful. Like they really help get
Hey.
through in between our coaching when I feel like I need a call, and
Yeah.
they help to, so, I know there's circumstances for folks to, be able and not be able to do the program. I think you're
Sure.
very helpful with that. But
Mm.
um, I think that could be a step too of like,
Yep.
signing up for the emails, following on social. There's
Yep.
so much, but
Listen to the podcast.
to not forget that,
Yeah.
you're not alone.
Mm.
There's, there's light on the other side,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, yeah. It feels like just come into the fold, like whether you're ready for the program or not, or can do it or not, just
Yes.
just come into the Wild Mama ether and things
Yeah.
will start to shift
Absolutely.
and you can get some support and then eventually, do the program or, whatever it is. We're gonna be starting a membership. I think I told you that, right? We're gonna be starting a membership platform
My
soon.
memory is like, that's for a
I'm
whole, that's
so
for
excited.
another time.
Yeah, I'm so excited. But it's like, just to have that more ongoing and it's a little more affordable. But
Yeah.
also we're going to be working with institutions to opt in to the membership to give access to the mothers, to the women in their
Mm.
organizations.
Ooh.
Yeah, yeah. So, there's just a lot of opportunities for getting connected. But that's what I hear you saying is just like, no matter what, just get connected, get support, opt in.
That's what I tell all my, there are people in my close circle who've been like, I want to do it, but it's too expensive. And I'm like, I hear you. Give it time. When you feel it, it'll come to you. But
Yeah.
do this until
Yeah.
then,
Yeah. I
you
love that.
know. Because that's just the truth, right? And I
Yeah.
think just having access to something is,
Mm.
and someone who's no right, like you're just not some like gimmick. Like this is the,
Yeah. This
like
real.
this
Yeah.
real. This real.
Yeah.
It works. I know people who have done the things
Yes.
because of the
Yes.
program.
Yes. Yes. I love
So,
it.
yeah.
Well, thank you, Juana. I love you so
I
much.
love you so much. I
I
so appreciate
appreciate
it.
you. Thank you for showing up and having this conversation with me.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, we'll talk soon.
Yes.
Have
All
fun.
right.
Okay,
Yeah.
bye.
Bye.